What I want to talk about now is you being chased, or your teeth falling out, or not being able to find a toilet, or being naked in public. All of these dreams, all of these fears that you might have over the course of the night when you finally fall asleep after listening to my dulcet tones. We have an extraordinary guest, Ian Wallace, who is a dream psychologist. He's just written a book called The 100 Top Dreams. He's going to analyse many dreams that all of us have. He's also going to give some special attention to Robin Schönhofer, who is, of course, our very own newsreader here on Drive Time at Talksport. I spoke to Ian just before the show started. Here's what he had to say. Ian, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on Talksport. You're a dream psychologist. You've got a new book out. You've categorised what some of the most kind of, shall we say, normally occurring dreams are. And everybody has them, I suppose. What's so special about what it is that you do when you're looking at dreams?
Yeah, so everyone dreams, Mike, and the thing that people always assume about dreams is that dreams happen to them, but the reverse is actually true. We actually happen to dreams, and we create everything in the dream, all the people, all the places, all the events, and so on. So what I've done in this book is to take all these patterns that we create, because we're all human beings, we tend to have the same behavioural patterns, and I've been doing this for over 30 years now, and in that time I've analysed about 140,000 dreams. So I've taken the 100 most common patterns that people create when they dream and actually just described what they mean and what you can do with them.
Right. And I was seeing from your website that you keep a dream diary, and that's quite interesting, isn't it? Because it highlights how an awful lot of the things that we kind of take in, I suppose, during the day, in terms of stories that we see on television or programmes or movies or even newspaper articles that we see going on, have some kind of impact as well.
Yeah, what happens, Mike, is that we, even as you and I are talking, we're unconsciously absorbing huge amounts of information that we don't consciously process. And then that actually comes out in our dreams. When we're creating these dreams, we try to make sense of all the stuff we've absorbed. And one of the things we do is to take events from the outside world and just use those to represent things that are happening for us. So a really common dream that's been emerging in the past 2 or 3 weeks has been the super injunction dream.
Right.
Where people dream that a super injunction has been taken out on them and they've got something really special to say, but they can't say it. And it's mainly been dreamt by women at the moment.
Right. Of course, for some people, that's not just a dream. It could be as many as 70, we understand.
There could be hundreds of them.
But I mean, it's interesting that you've also kind of defined some dreams which a lot of people have at some point or other in their lives, like, for example, your teeth falling out or being chased or flying or being unable to find a toilet. So there's a sort of recurring theme for an awful lot of people, even though perhaps different things are happening to them.
Yeah, so we have these universal dream themes, and then we apply our own specific dream vocabulary to them. So if I dream about being, say, unprepared for an exam, and you have the same dream, I'll be back in Galatown Primary School, but the chances are that you won't, Mike, unless you went there.
Right.
So with that, we just take these universal patterns that we all create, and then we apply them to our own specific circumstances.
Oh, I see. Okay. And so in terms of people all over the world, I suppose, and all over the planet, I mean, does it matter what your kind of cultural influences are or what your life experiences are in terms of the types of dreams that you'll have?
There'll be some specific changes in details, but all over the world, because I've worked all over the world and I've still got clients all over the world, and people are still having the same sort of dreams. The number one dream all over the planet is being chased. And even as you and I are talking, Mike, then a third of the planet's population is asleep.
Yeah.
We have about 5 dreams per night each, so by the time they're waking up, they'll have dreamt 10 billion dreams, and most of those dreams will follow the same sort of patterns.
Right. And sort of typically, does a dream last for a much shorter period of time than it appears to? You know, like when you are in a dream state and you sometimes wake up and you remember it. It seems as though it's been going on for a long time, but does it actually not take very long for that dream to happen?
The length of the dream lasts usually from between about 10 minutes at the start of the night to about maybe 35 to 40 minutes getting closer to morning. So we have usually, on average, 5 dream episodes a night. But the thing that we do in dreams, we kind of work like a movie director, is that we compress the dream narrative right down. So we just have the most important points in it. So you can have a whole lifetime compressed into that 10 minutes.
And can you actually control what you dream about if you become good at it, as it were?
Yeah, you can, Mike. That's one of the best things to do, actually. There's a technique called lucid dreaming, where you can actually become aware that you're dreaming and start to influence the direction that your dream is going to take. And usually people go to really exotic locations, usually with really exotic people, and have really exotic times with them.
Right, and so you could actually make yourself dream about something pleasant rather than something unpleasant.
Yeah, and it's quite strange. One of the best ways to learn how to lucid dream is if you're having a series of nightmares. So if you're having nightmare episodes, in the nightmare you're actually getting pretty close to controlling it, but you actually have to decide in the nightmare that you're going to change the outcome of what's happening to you.
Right, and you believe that almost everybody can do that?
Yeah, everyone can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I realise that we haven't got a great deal of time to go through all of this because it's a very big area and it's a fascinating one for an awful lot of people. But can we go through just a few typical dreams, and you can perhaps tell us what they mean and what you should do about it?
Yeah, that'd be great, Mike.
The being chased dream, for example, people quite often find themselves being pursued by something or someone that they think is going to harm you. It doesn't matter how fast you run or where you hide, you can't get away. What's that mean?
Yeah, this is a really interesting one, Mike, because one of the things that a lot of people ask me is like, how do you know all this stuff? Who makes up all these dream images and metaphors and symbols? Is there a book somewhere like this? But the thing is that we make them all up, so all these things just emerge from our own culture. So the lovely thing about the being chased dream is we've got this word in our language, pursuit, and it either means being chased or something that we're really fascinated by or drawn to. So what the being chased dream is about, there's an issue in your waking life that you want to confront, but you're not quite sure how to do that. And the issue is often a great opportunity to pursue a particular ambition that you want to achieve. And although the people who are pursuing you seem quite scary, what your pursuers are actually doing is bringing this pursuit to your attention, so you can actually use that in your waking life to achieve an ambition.
Right, so it's not necessarily something that you're being chased by, but it's something that you need to actually achieve. So
yeah, that's
quite the reverse. What about the one which a lot of people have about being naked in public?
Yeah, this is the fourth most common dream that people have. This is the one that Kate Middleton was having just before her wedding. She dreamt she was standing naked at the altar. So again, just looking at the imagery involved in it, what clothes do are they're how we present ourselves to the world, and they're allow us to cover ourselves up so we don't feel naked and vulnerable. So if you dream that you're naked in public, then there's some situation in waking life where you're feeling a bit vulnerable and exposed. And it's usually when you step into a new role, like a new job or a new relationship, like Kate Middleton. But the really funny thing in the dream, even though you're naked, then no one else ever seems to notice that you're naked in the dream. So they're full of confidence in you, and it's just because you're lacking confidence in yourself a bit. So the action from the dream is just to be a bit more confident and just open up to other people.
So it's quite a natural thing to dream about, really, I suppose, for a lot of
Yeah,
people.
it's very common, Mike. Yeah.
Okay. And finally, what about the teeth falling out one, which we've touched on before? What is that all about?
Yeah, so the teeth falling out one, it's the second most common dream that people have. And what your teeth symbolise are power and confidence. So we tend to show our teeth mainly when we're happy and confident, when we're smiling, or when we're trying to assert our power and we're kind of snarling a bit. So if you dream that your teeth are falling out, there's some issue in waking life that's making you feel a bit less confident than usual. Your confidence is crumbling, you're losing a bit of nerve. And the message from the dream is just to, again, appear more confident in waking life, even though you feel a bit wobbly inside.
Right. And if people keep having these dreams sort of in a recurring basis so that it doesn't go away, is there something they can do to change that?
Yeah, so in the book, for every dream, I give an action that you can take to actually work with the dream and use the message that you're creating for yourself. And what happens if you don't attend to your dreams, if you don't actually answer these messages, then the dream tries to get your attention, so it effectively starts shouting at you until you notice it. So it turns up the scariness and the vividness and the colour until you actually start paying attention to the dream.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll go back to where people can find your book and how they can find your website as well in a moment. But we've got a little challenge for you because
Okay, Mike.
one of our news readers here at Talksport, Robin Schönhofer, has been having some very odd dreams and very weird dreams, she tells us. And she wants you to have a listen to what they're about and see whether you can analyse them and give her any help.
Okay.
Okay, let's have a listen.
Hi, it's Robin from Drive Time, and I've got a few dreams for you to analyse, if that's possible, please. The first one is actually one I had last night, very bizarre, so bizarre I tweeted about it actually, that I was faced with a rolling pin juggling albino car thief. This man, who was an albino, was trying to steal a car not necessarily my car, but he was also juggling rolling pins at the same time, and he was very good at it, but he did also keep throwing them at me. So that's a rolling pin juggling albino car thief. If you could tell me what that means, that would be fabulous. The other dream is a recurring dream I have about forgetting I own a hamster. And it's almost dead because I've forgotten to feed it and to water it and look after it. And I'm absolutely beside myself with upset that I've forgotten about this poor animal and I've neglected it. And in a similar vein, I also regularly dream about forgetting that I have a baby and having suddenly remembered that I've left it somewhere and I have to find it. And again, I'm beside myself with upset because I've neglected to look after this small child. Probably means I shouldn't own animals and shouldn't become a mother. But if they do have any other significant meaning and you could let me know, that would be fabulous. Thank you.
Sounds like a very guilty woman to me, Ian. I don't know about you. What do you reckon?
No, these are fabulous dreams, Mike. These are actually quite common dreams again.
Really?
Yeah. So, shall we go through what they mean?
Sure, please do.
So, the first one, being faced by a car thief, losing a car or having a car stolen is the 28th most common dream that people have. So anytime we dream about a car, we're dreaming about our own drive and ambition in waking life. So this is the route that Robin's following to achieve her ambitions and how she's driving herself through there. But she's scared that her drive is going to be stolen, and what she's being faced with is this rolling pin juggling. So she's having to probably juggle a whole lot of domestic stuff at home, a whole lot of domestic duties at home, and she's worried about trying to fit her home life, her domestic life, in with her work life and making sure that her domestic life doesn't steal away her professional life.
Okay. And what about the ones about forgetting about either a child or a hamster that she has in her house?
Yeah, these dreams are quite common to have together. So having an abandoned pet, like a hamster, is the 56th most common dream that people have. And a forgotten baby is the 46th most common dream that people have. So just going back to the language thing we were talking about before, then for the hamster, Robin's got some sort of pet project that she's had to abandon, and she's really, really worried about it. So again, it's something to do in her career. It's some plan or idea that is very, very precious to her, but she feels that she's had to abandon it and put it to one side. So what she's trying to do is revive that plan or project in her career.
Okay.
And that's the same sort of thing as the forgotten baby dream. So when we have something, an idea that's quite precious to us, we often refer to it as our baby or as a labour of love or a fruitful labour and phrases like that. So again, there's something that she feels that she's had to abandon, again, maybe because of things in her private life, because of her domestic life, and she can't actually develop and nurture what that plan or idea actually is.
So it doesn't mean necessarily that she should go and pursue whatever it is that she feels that she's abandoned. It's just representing that fear of abandonment that she's sort of experiencing.
Yeah, it's also sending her a message, Mike, saying that she should look at that thing again and look at different ways of developing what her talents are. So maybe she has been trying to develop her talents in quite a traditional and conventional career path, and what the dream's saying is, you have these talents, you maybe just have to develop them in a different way.
Okay. Well, I'm sure she'd be very grateful for that, Ian. It's fascinating stuff. I'm sure we could, if we may, revisit you perhaps and talk a little bit more about some of the other dreams that figure in the book. The Top 100 Dreams is the name of the book. Where can people find it, Ian?
They can get it online at all big online bookstores. It's published by Hay House, and it's in most bookstores as well.
Okay, and what's your website, in case anyone wants to go and have a look at that?
My website is ianwallacedreams.com.